First of all, just tell me a little bit about your team this year. Obviously a few changes this year too.
Yeah, some new faces in some spots. One with Tiger Cobb and AJ Austin, and also with Trenton Hobbs being gone. There was some big shoes to fill in those roles, especially offensively and the production that they had for us last year. Tiger had 1,965 yards rushing and 28 rushing touchdowns at the quarterback spot. That's a lot to fill. So we got two guys right now that are battling it out for the quarterback position, and Colton Nichols is going to be a junior, and he's doing a really nice job for us. And also sophomore Braden Matheny has stepped in and done a nice job for us with some reps as well. So it's just nice to get going again, because you just never know what you're going to have back, and that's the kind of the fun piece of high school football is, you get what's in your hallways, and you have to make it work.
When you have a quarterback competition, what's something you look for, in a quarterback, you specifically?
Number one is just competency. Can they hear the verbiage that we're telling them, and then can they translate it to the play call? We're no huddle, so there's not a lot of time for them to think. We've really kind of slowed things down a little bit as far as our tempo's going early in the summer, and really just trying to make sure that, cognitively they understand what we're trying to do with each one of our play calls, because it doesn't make sense as a coach to speed it up and try to go fast and they have no idea what they're reading or what they're seeing. So really just trying to make sure they are in tune with me and my play calling, and they're able to go out and replicate that on the practice field.
Where do you feel like this team is at last summer, in comparison to maybe, as you mentioned before, where you guys were at just one summer ago?
Well, whenever you have a guy coming back like Tiger Cobb returning back at quarterback, you just feel like you just pick up where you left off, and so that's the question, we say as coaches when we do our install for our first camp that we hold here in Hallsville is, how much do we dial it back? Do we scale it up? What do we do? And so we said, you know what, we're going to put the pressure on these young guys and see what they can handle. And I think that's the fun part of it, once again, is just, kind of throwing them in the fire a little bit and seeing if they're going to sink or swim. And so they've done a nice job. And Tiger was out last week, and he just said he was really surprised at where we were and how far along we were this early in the season. So it feels good whenever a veteran guy like that comes back and he can see that we're kind of right where we were last year as far as our play calling abilities.
As far as when you first got here to now, how do you feel like this program has grown? I just feel like every year I come back and it's grown so much more,
Yeah, the great thing about it is, now this is my first class of all 4 years, so these kids were, my seniors this year, they were freshmen when we got here, and so now you start to see kind of that leadership piece take place without me having to say things, and them holding each other accountable. And that's the big piece, that when you're trying to build a program and not just a good team, you want that consistency throughout the course of the years, and they're doing a good job with that.
What is it like to see a guy like Tiger, a guy like AJ, what is it like to see them kind of succeed and go on to this next level like you've seen them?
Oh, as a head coach, that's what you want for your guys. You want for them to be able to have success in high school, to be able to win some football games, but then to obviously have the opportunity to play at the next level if that's what they want to do. And those two, Tiger and AJ, they really wanted that. So for that to come true for them, that's like, it's like in my heart. It's a good thing for me too, because it's special. And they're going to have a lot of fun, and they're going to be very successful at the next level.
I ask you every year, is the goal still the same thing this year?
So we're gonna say, the goal, I say it every year, the cliche thing is, 1 week at a time. Right now our focus, honestly, is, week one. Palmyra is a tough opponent in that week one. Our two non-con games, 1 and 2, it goes Palmyra, Centralia, and then now our conference rotates and we play Boonville in week 3. So there's no, for us, there's no taking 2 steps forward and steps back. That's what we're saying every day at practice, is we're making sure that we're getting 2 steps forward and not any steps backwards, and we're trying to make sure that we're ready for week 1 when Palmyra comes down.